Assalamu alaikum students. We are going to start our second lecture. That is the second paragraph of our short story, A Hanging, written by George Orwell. Let's start it. One prisoner had been brought out of this cell. So now we find the description of the execution process. We see that the execution process begins as one of the prisoners being kept in those animal-like cages is taken out. This sentence marks the transition from confinement to the final act of punishment. They were confined and now they are being taken for their execution, for their final punishment. And this line creates tension and anticipation. We know what is going to happen. So obviously, consequently, we feel tension because somebody is going to be hanged. Somebody is going to be executed. He was a Hindu, a puny wisp of a man with a shaven head and vague liquid eyes. The prisoner is described here, and if we read the words, we find that the prisoner is physically weak, he's physically fragile, and when we see the phrase puny wisp, it emphasizes the thinness and lack of strength of that person. And that phrase makes him appear harmless and undeserving of such a severe punishment. His health says that no, he should not be hanged. He's very weak. He's very thin. Okay? Then next line, we say he had a thick sprouting mustache, absurdly too big for his body, rather like the mustache of a comic man on the films. Now see this description. The shaved head reflects prison routine and loss of identity, because when you have shaven or you've shaved your head, it means you have no desires. Your hair are connected to your hopes, right? And even you have lost your identity. And when the phrase liquid eyes is used, it suggests confusion, it suggests fear, it suggests emotional emptiness. And accumulatively, this phrase highlights the vulnerability of that prisoner. Then he had a thick, sprouting mustache. This line, this sentence, we will see that this sentence is ironical. It is ironic. And that ironic detail is creating contrast. The mustache appears exaggerated. We find exaggeration. It is not closer to reality. And it also creates humor. It is humorous. So that exaggerated appearance and as well as humorous one clashes with the seriousness of the situation. One person is going to be dead, and here you are describing him in a humorous way that creates humor, that provides a contrast, right? That's why this scene becomes more disturbing, right? That you feel that, okay, someone is going to be executed, and then you see that humorous, you read those humorous sentences. So wait for a while. Let me, where is the next line? Yes. 6 tall Indian warders were guarding him and getting him ready for the gallows. Now, see, this line is also very interesting. He's very weak person, no power he has, but see, strong guards, and they are six. 6 people, 6 strong guards are guarding him. They're taking him to the gallows. And see, it's also a comparison that a weak man is surrounded by 6 strong guards. That comparison also highlights the imbalance of power and authority. It shows unnecessary force and control. He is a weak person, and only one guard even can take him to that. But here we find that force, unnecessary force, and control is shown here. Then 2 of them stood by with rifles and fixed bayonets, while the others handcuffed him, passed a chain through his handcuffs, and fixed it to their belts, and lashed his arms tight to his sides. Horrible description of a human being. Uh, See, weapons are used here, and that use of weapons basically suggests danger and threat, even though the prisoner is not resisting. But still, we find danger here. Danger is presented here. This reflects the harsh and intimidating nature of the system. Then they handcuffed him and passed a chain and lashed his arms. All these uh, connect to the same idea. It is a detailed description of restraints. And that detailed description shows excessive control, how they have managed it, how they are keeping him. It suggests that the system treats the prisoner as something dangerous, even though he is physically weak. But still, he is considered dangerous. They crowded very close about him, with their hands always on him in a careful, caressing grip, as though all the while feeling him to make sure he was there. Now, see this phrase, caressing grip. They're surrounding him. And that caressing grip is ironic. How you are holding someone in prison and you are caring, the grip can be caring. I don't think so. It sounds gentle, but actually it shows constant control and surveillance, as if the prisoner is an object that must not escape. It was like men handling a fish which is still alive and may jump back into the water. Then again, you find a comparison uh, with fish. So, this simile is reducing the prisoner to an animal. It is dehumanization of a person because he is treated like a creature that might escape rather than a human being with feelings. Then, but he stood quite unresisting, yielding his arms limply to the ropes, as though he hardly noticed what was happening. The prisoner is not resisting at all. He's not showing any kind of struggle. So that unresistance or that not struggling shows that he is helpless and he has accepted his fate. And but he stood quiet and resisting, then yielding his arms, and so on till happening. This part of the sentence suggests mental detachment or numbness. He's numb, he's detached. Who's detached? The people surrounding him, the guards, the system. The system has no emotions. The people guarding him have no emotions. They are not taking care of even prisoners' emotions. He may be in shock, or he may be unable to fully process the reality of his execution, right? So now let us explain different literary techniques which are used here. You can be asked to discuss literary techniques used in this passage in your exam. Imagery, simile, irony, all of these techniques are used here. If you see a detailed physical description used by Orwell, we find that he is creating a vivid picture of the prisoner. The same in the previous paragraph we talked about a vivid picture of the prison. And now in this paragraph, he is vividly portraying the picture of the prisoner and then the guards. If you read the words like puny wisp, shaven head, fixed bayonets, they all help the reader visualize both weakness and force. And that visualization of weakness and force increases the emotional impact. We also find simile here, like men handling a fish. That simile is very emphatic. It is very powerful. It shows that the prisoner is treated as something less than human. He's not a human being. And that treatment, that treatment emphasizes dehumanization of the prisoner. And it also humanizes, it also emphasizes that the prisoner has lack of dignity. Then you will see irony too. Caressing grip is very ironic phrase as it shows gentleness, whereas we don't find gentleness there, even in the environment, the way they are kept, the way they are treated. And actually, this phrase between the lines is describing control and restriction. And even the comic description of the mustache also contrasts with the tragic situation. Therefore, that description is also ironic. If you feel, if you observe, then you will also find another technique, that is contrast. You will see there is a strong, clear, vivid, emphatic contrast between the weak prisoner and the strong guards. And that contrast highlights the imbalance of power and makes the situation appear unjust and coercive and excessive. So these four techniques are used in this paragraph. Then we can also find a certain themes being discussed, being presented. One is dehumanization, remember it, and you should know different examples. Here, if you see, the prisoner is being treated like an object or animal, especially when they say like men handling a fish. This phrase shows how the system removes human dignity from the prisoners. Then power and authority. We find the presence of many guards, 6 guards. They have weapons, they have power, they have control, and the prisoner is completely dominated. They're dominating him. The prisoner is even posing no threat to them. He is weak, he's fragile, he has no power to resist, but still, he is treated as if he is very dangerous. Then you will find helpless, helplessness and submission. If you see, the prisoner is not resisting, he's not struggling, he's not trying to get his freedom, he has given up. So that lack of resistance, when we find the phrase stood quite unresisting, that phrase shows his complete powerlessness and acceptance of fate. He has given up. He has accepted what is written in his fate. He does not want to struggle. He wants to die in peace. Then there's another theme, that is absurdity, irony, especially the comic mustache and the phrase caressing grip. Both create a strange mix of humor and horror. With the help of irony, we feel that humor and horror existing together, and that makes the situation more disturbing. Then there's another central theme, that is capital punishment, execution of human beings. It shows that it is injustice giving capital punishment to human beings. And we also find that excessive force is being used on a weak, passive man who has no power, even who is not resisting. And it suggests that execution is cruel and unnecessary. It is the excessive use of power, it is the excessive use of control, and that raises questions about its normality. Is it normal to execute a human being who is powerless, who has accepted his fate, who is not struggling, who is not trying to escape? Then in this paragraph, you will see that if you are asked to write the style of a writer, so you will say that it is a simple style, it is a descriptive style. Description is there. The first prison was described. Now the prisoner is described. The guards are described. The action is described. So language we find is very clear, but it is very powerful. This language focuses on small details. And by focusing on small details, the writer is creating a strong emotional effect in our minds. And when the writer uses irony and simile, it is the addition, or it also adds depth to the description. It makes description more emphatic, more powerful, stronger. And even we see the tone in this paragraph remains calm and observational, and that calm and observational tone makes the cruelty of the situation more striking. It strikes us more. We feel more. We raise question emphatically whether it is okay or not. And accumulatively, if you see, the writer's style is very realistic, and here it is direct. In first passage, it was indirect, but here it is direct. And it is very meaningful. It is enriched in meaning. Let us critically analyze it. If you're given a passage, the same passage in your exam, you'll say that this passage is basically highlighting the cruelty and inhumanity of the execution process. The writer is showing how a weak and harmless man is treated with excessive control, as if he were very dangerous, very powerful, having strength, having power to escape. The comparison to a fish and the ironic language also reveal how the system reduces human beings to objects, to animals. The system uh, causes them lose their dignity. And you see, the calm tone is making the scene even more disturbing, as it is presenting violence as normal. Violence is usual. Violence is accepted. Violence is like a routine. Violence is like taking a walk. Violence is like taking breakfast. With the help of such description, with the help of such tone, Orwell indirectly criticizing, Orwell is indirectly criticizing capital punishment and the authority that supports it. Though his style is direct, but he does not criticize capital punishment and the authority that supports it directly. Indirectly, he criticizes it. Will not find, he's not using that, okay, he's not saying that it is dangerous, it is not fair to, it is not fair to execute people. He's not saying this, right? Then let us conclude it. If you have to conclude this, the same paragraph, you'll say that this passage is powerfully, emphatically presenting themes of, again, dehumanization, power, and helplessness. And the writer has used vivid imagery, irony, and contrast. And with the help of all these techniques, Orwell is showing the cruelty of the execution process. And here you see the prisoner is shown as weak and passive, having no strength, having no power to escape, having no power to show resilience. Whereas that weak person is surrounded by six very powerful, well equipped guards. So represent that represents authority and control. And if you see the accumulative effect of this passage, you can say that it is creating a powerful and disturbing picture of injustice and loss of human dignity. I hope you have understood it. And if you have any questions, any queries, you can ask me, and I'll try my best to answer your queries if you have. Thank you for watching.